Okay, hello and welcome to Programming with Matt, episode 10. We said in the last episode was increasing the amount of spells that we had, so we had a fireball and stuff like that. So what you see me doing here is just finishing off from that, and then after this I'm just going to be cleaning up a little bit some of the stuff that I've left from testing and stuff that shouldn't have been there. I should be going back and cleaning some of that up. So there won't be a lot of new content added in this episode, but there'll be a little bit. As you see there, we're just adding a little bit of a fireball, and that just means that when we cast Fireball, there's actually a Fireball sprite that comes out onto the screen. And that's using the Particles class that we made last episode. So I've got Arrow that I've already made that I'll be trying to implement now. And as you see, it's there. And so that's quite a good thing to do. Just to finish off what we was doing last episode. And as you see there, me just closing up some of the windows because I was getting quite a few. What we seem to do now as well is creating a mini-map. Just include a mini-map there. And so I just render that on the screen, and I'm rendering the bottom corner. As you see there, that's what S width -70 and target divided by S width just gives you the height of the screen. We -78 for that as well. And why we see there, I'm just defining it in white. Makes it a little easier for me when it comes to it. See, it's a little bit low, so I need to do 98 instead of 78, and there you see it comes out perfectly. And it's drawn nicely in the corner, and so it means it gives me just a nice little thing to draw with. Now I'm just messing around to see where I'd like it to be drawn. So they're drawing in the top right corner, and so I'm going to leave it there for now. So, doing now is just deciding where to draw the player's name, where the player is on the mini-map. So this is just to make the mini-map look as good as I can. What I decided to do was to draw a grey cross on the mini-map that cuts through the middle of both vertically and horizontally. So where it intersects is where the player's position is. Set up a class here called Minimap. This just means that, as we had before, I can hold all the places, all this information to do with the minimap in one place, so that I can just edit it through this one place. It makes it easier for me. As again, it makes me not have to go searching around to try and find the information that I want. Okay, I'm now using the tick function that will just update the position of the player, then decide where to draw the players the map from. So the map that we'll be using is the actual core data, so just the individually coloured pixels as opposed to the tiles. And this way we'll be able to get a lot more zoomed out version of the map, and we don't have to recreate a whole new picture because we've got one sitting there. We aren't going to be able to zoom in and out of the minimap though, as this would require a lot more programming, and the get image here is just going to get from the level, is just going to return the layout of the level. So that will be, as I said, just the core data, just the individual pixels. And this gives me something so that I can write onto the screen individual pixels. What you see me doing here is just doing the width and height of the level, cycle through the entire width and height of the level. Figure out where the player's position is using PYO and PXO. LXS tell me where to start drawing the level from, and LYS tell me where to start drawing it from on the Y-axis. Obviously we've got E there to tell me when to stop, and you can see now that I'm just setting them as the loop variables so that we don't search through the whole level to draw, and this also makes it run a little quicker. What we see here is the mini-map, what we can get rid of the blue when we choose the position, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out when it equals that dark yellow colour that you see. As when it equals that, that's when we want to draw the level to keep it within the border, and so only when it's that dark yellow that we're on do we draw. It's just the target position, and then we have to figure out where we're going to actually, what colour we're going to draw onto that pixel. You see there it's a null exception, which means we're trying to access a null object somewhere. And array index out of bounds exception means that there's somewhere that we're trying to access an array that's outside of the bounds of the array. So say an array has 400 slots in it, we're trying to access say 450. What we do here is just make sure it's within the array. Just using the system out and print that function again as usual. It's just telling me what each of the variables are equal in at the point when I'm trying to use it. They'll look like they're drawing relatively okay, I believe. Should be like the width and height, because we need to see what that variable equals as well. H equals 300. So y and j equals, well, you should see there, reaching a reasonable level, and then reaching the array index out of bounds again. It's just me searching through to try and figure out why the new function that I've just implemented doesn't work. And so really a lot of what we're watching at the moment is just troubleshooting, me going through, trying to figure out where it's losing the information, where I need to start picking the information up again, make sure it works correctly. As you see there, the level is being drawn, and you can't really see the cross because I haven't drawn it. But that's, as you see, the level being drawn where the player is, as opposed to where the actual screen is. This is one thing that I did want to do, so that you follow the player, because that player is going to be like your main player. May change this at a later date, and so it follows the camera, and then the player will just be a big spot on the minimap, but I don't know yet. We'll see how that goes in later episodes. As you see, that the level looks very square, so what I might do again in a later episode is just sort of put the background as blue, or figure out a way of drawing it blue so that it looks like the world goes on forever and it's just, that's the edge of the bounds that you can reach. What you see me doing here is just trying to draw a grey arrow, or grey cross, and you can see it there, grey cross centres in the middle of the minimap. It crosses, and that's really good because that just points out where the player is on the minimap. You see it's slightly off, and that's just a little bit of number errors that I've got to change. So they're all dead on perfect. So what you see me do here is I just get in a good position where it should be drawn, so I know exactly where it should be drawing that cross, and then I use that position and I edit the numbers so that it works. Let's just see we're drawing relatively okay. What you see me doing here is just something in the functionality that I wanted ages ago, but I'm only just doing it. I'm implementing ability to not be able to walk the water, sorry. So what I do is I just get the player's X position, the player's Y position, and I update it for the velocity. And I just test the level to see if it equals water. And if it equals water, we'll set the X velocity and the Y velocity to 0. And this way it means it will not update position, so it will stay where it is. This works because it basically what it does is it guesses where it's going to be, tests to see if it's water, and if that's where it's water, then it won't let him move, it'll just keep him exactly where he is. And then the player will have to walk in a different direction in order to get him being able to walk. The thing you have to do here though is just name all the different textures, which this isn't too long, as it's something I should have done to begin with anyway, so it was just me being lazy to begin with. But as you see, it all comes down to me having to do it in the end. Basically, just to see me doing here is just setting up the function inside the level class. And what this will do is just get the block, the designated position, and it'll just return what the block, the name of the block will be. You see it doesn't work again. That's just because I'm trying to send it a block that's outside of the bounds, so I just check to make sure it's inside the bounds first. If it isn't, then I return null. You see it still isn't working. So I just go back to the drawing board and try again. This dot get bottom returns the bottom of the player, so this is the player's feet. Just here returning what it equals, and then I just try and find it. It's equaling null. To know why it's equaling null, so I print what the xg and yg equals, and then I have to restart it because it's failed. And what this is returning 440 and 508. That's because it's returning the player's position, and the player's position is to be divided by 16. As you see, when it's divided by 16, the player walks and he cannot walk on the water. So it's quite good. It's one of them things, it's only small, but needs to be implemented really. As you can see here, I'm just testing the player, making sure that he cannot walk or in any direction. It doesn't work when he's walking downwards, so I just add a little functionality in that tests whether he's moving up, down, left or right, and so I adjust each of the variables separately. As you see, if its velocity x is greater than 0, it means it's moving to the right. It means we have to test the right side of the image, and so we add the width to the image, to the player's position. And the same with y. It doesn't work on Y. So I'll go back to the Y and we'll see that I've left the X's instead of Y's. So I'll just go and change the Y's, and as you see, it still isn't working properly. It's kind of working, but not in the right way. It is stopping it, but it's stopping it too late. And there you go, as you see, it's working fine now, except for when I walk across that little bit there. So I have to figure out how exactly I'm going to figure this out. And so what I do is I just divide, I set an x position up, and I test to see if the velocity of x is 0. Then I'm checking the middle point. This just means that the middle point will give you the average of whether left and right is on the water or not. Okay, so that's been episode 10. Please check back next week for episode 11. And I'll see you then. Thank you.